Welcome to your Flame Fundamentals training. One common editorial task when finishing a production is replacing certain segments in the sequence with updated media. For instance, you could be supplied with externally updated composites or graphics, and you need to exchange old for new. Another scenario is that you've decided to work on your VFX shots outside of the sequence in batch, and you need to replace the renders back into the sequence. Irrespective of the scenarios, Flame has some powerful, sophisticated functionality when replacing media, or what we call swapping shots in the sequence. So you'll cover swapping shots using their metadata, as well as replacing media simply by lining up frames under the positioner. When it comes to replacing media in a sequence or swapping a shot, Flame's default behavior is to use any existing metadata to automatically line things up for you. Huge time saver. This is called Smart Replace, and you will find the option if you open the Edit pull-down menu. So let's say you matched out this shot earlier, and you've either worked on this in Flame using node compositing in batch, or someone did the work externally, and you've re-imported the shot back into the media panel. Now you don't need to line anything up, and you don't even need to set an in or out marker. The only crucial factor to swapping media with Smart Replace is that the metadata in the new shot matches the metadata of the original footage. I am referring specifically to source timecode. Now you don't need to do this, but to make it quite clear, I'll use the source sequence view to demonstrate the replacing media. So you select the segment in the sequence, and you select the new media in the Reels or Media panel. Click the Replace Edit button. The segment swaps in the sequence, and you'll see the player update. Note that the same frame has lined up under the positioner, and there was no need to manually line up the frames. Now Smart Replace removes the stress of having to manually line up frames if you need to keep sync when swapping a segment in the sequence. This works amazingly well, provided the metadata of the old and new footage are the same. However, I have seen so many times when the metadata was lost or even stripped out. In this case, with no matching timecode, your only option is to visually match the frames. Take this shot for instance. This is the original segment in the sequence, and here is the updated version. Note that the source timecode in the sequence is different to the source timecode of the new clip. If you clicked Replace Edit, Smart Replace will not find a metadata match. Instead, Flame will opt to use the current frame under each positioner to line up the shots and perform the Replace Edit. When you click Replace, the current source frame will be aligned using the sequence's positioner, and the segment is replaced. Expectedly, I was on two different frames, and the new footage is out of sync with the edit. So I'll undo the operation and take a small amount of time to manually match the frames with each positioner. Now that the source and sequence frames are matched, you can replace the edit again and use the positioners to align the Replace Edit. This time, everything is still in sync. As a tip, if you are only swapping shots with no matching metadata, you can disable Smart Replace through the Edit pull-down menu, which bypasses that error message to save you a bit of time. Now replacing a segment or swapping a shot is very easy using the Replace Edit button or keyboard shortcut. However, when you use the Replace Edit function with or without Smart Replace enabled, the operation will replace the existing segments and wipe out any existing timeline effects. This might be what you want in a lot of cases. But if you only want to replace the source media inside the segment and keep any timeline effects applied to the segment, you need to click the Edit pull-down menu and choose Replace Media. The source footage is replaced, and any timeline effects still exist on the segment. So Replace Edit completely replaces the old segment for the new one, and Replace Media only replaces the underlying source footage without affecting any timeline effects used for VFX or grading. Please move on to the next video, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the Flame Learning channel. Thanks for watching.